All right, we are live. Another week of E-Quips. How you doing today, Laurel?
Really good, really good. I'm excited to be with you again. And welcome everyone to our Coaching Quips. These are our weekly coaching mastery tips designed to equip coaches, future coaches, and also coach like leaders with empowering approaches to consider. I'm Laurel Elders, the founder of the Institute for Integrative Intelligence. I'm an ICF Master Certified Coach. I got my start in the coaching field in 2005 and now consider myself a thorough coaching geek. And I have with me Bryant Alexander. Bryant is a coach and works with us in admissions. Bryant is basically helps people align with the coach training options that are best suited for them and their organization. Bryant, feel free to give everyone a shout out.
Yeah, thank you for that intro, Laurel. Yes, I am working with the Institute in the capacity of an admissions coordinator. So, if you're interested in coaching, if you want to learn more about coaching, feel free to reach out to me because I'm also a student and Laurel is one of my instructors. Any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But I also work as a full-time coach outside with tech organizations, specifically in tech professionals. If you're interested in that, please reach out to me. But that's a little bit about me. I don't want to take up too much time. I want to pass it back over to you, Laurel. Please, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so today's topic are going to be the 3 layers to coaching mastery. So last week we covered coaching versus advice giving. So if you missed that, we will place the link below so that you can come back later and check it out. And during that equip, we mentioned coaching mastery, and we wanted to take that topic a little bit deeper into the different layers to coaching mastery.
Okay.
And notice I said layers and not levels.
Okay. Tell me more, please.
So I found that the more you study coaching, the more layers you add to your depth as a coach.
hmm
But what's really cool is that the layers you add to your depth actually lend to the new levels that your clients will be reaching in
hmm
their work and their lives.
Okay.
So, there's 3 layers. The first layer, skills. So let's go into this a little bit more. So I know, Bryant, you're familiar with the ICF core competencies.
Yes, I have no choice but to be. I actually had a class yesterday about it. We had to look through a script and identify the competencies throughout the script. It was probably, I didn't realize it was going to take that much work, but it was a lot of fun just kind of going through the different competencies. But yes, I have to be familiar with those.
Nice. Yes. Yeah. So that the ICF core competencies are that layer 1 of the skills. So those include a coach has a solid foundation in coaching. In other words, the coach is demonstrating ethical practice. So that's competency A1. The
Mhm.
coach is embodying a coaching mindset, competency A2. The coach is also trained to co-create the engagement. So that's different from other approaches like consulting or
Mhm.
mentoring or teaching. And that includes establishing, maintaining agreements, cultivating trust and safety, maintains presence to the client and the process. So that's competency B3 through 5.
Mhm.
And then the coach is also trained in communication efficacy. So this is active listening, being able to hear what's not said as well.
Mm. You said a lot there. Okay. Um, so level one, it's a lot already in there, but something that you said was co-create. All right, I think that has become a lot of it's become a popular term. So could you expound on what you mean by co-create, please?
Absolutely. So when a client or employee enters the coaching engagement, and this taps into what we were talking about last week, that level 1 and journey 1 and journey 2 into your potential.
hmm
First journey, we can be showing them the way. The second journey, where our true development comes from, is self-discovered. So if you prescribe something,
hmm
it's not going to be as engaging for the client as if they're a part of the entire process.
hmm Hmm. Okay. And that's the differentiation between where coaching versus consulting is happening, correct? Is that
And
what you're saying? Okay. And then you talked about evokes awareness. I think that's also something we talk about today, right? So self awareness. What does it mean to be self aware? So, what does, in the context of coaching in this first level, what does evoking awareness actually mean?
so, from the coach's perspective, it's asking questions that help the client gain self awareness,
Hmm.
self attunement, and
Mm,
self generation.
okay.
So, if I show up, I love to give this example. If I show up to work, I have a chip on my shoulder, and
Hmm.
I'm short with people, and I'm closed down, not very open and fun to be with. What are the odds? What's the probability I'm going to get a promotion?
Probably not.
Probably not too good. But if I get coached and I gain self awareness,
Hmm.
I'm able to get rid of, we call it catch yourselves in the act. So
Hmm.
I catch the chip on my shoulder and eventually get rid of the chip on my shoulder. Now I'm showing up to work open, creative, even fun to be with.
Hmm.
What is the probability I might get that promotion?
Probably higher.
Right? Like I may or may not get it, but I've gained access to that possibility.
Hmm.
I've gained new awareness, new self awareness.
I'm glad you used that work example too, because I think that oftentimes you hear people say that, oh, like I feel stuck, or they're not giving me this promotion, or I work hard and I'm not getting what I want, right? And I think what you're alluding to is that awareness allows you to say, like, what am I doing, or how can I show up differently, or what are the things that I might be contributing to me not getting that promotion, or me feeling stuck in this job or in this role. So it's just interesting to kind of hear like the importance of self-awareness as it applies to work, but also in the grand scheme of life, self-awareness becomes such an important factor, because I think what you speak to is just that relationship with yourself and how important that is and how that shows up, and how the self-awareness kind of shapes the way you engage with not only yourself but also just phenomenon or people, the world, whatever it may be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so connected to the self generation. Am I
Hmm.
generating the outcomes that I want to be?
Hmm.
And that self alignment. Am I showing up aligned? So if I've got a chip on my shoulder, I'm actually not showing up aligned with who I am.
Hmm.
Because we're not our defense mechanisms, we're not our limiting beliefs, we're
Hmm.
not our fears. So so how can I get into self alignment to experience that empowerment in the workplace, but also at home? I mean, that's the beauty of coaching, right? It goes with us everywhere we go.
Wow. And that's just level one. All
That's
right. So
right.
that's just level one.
Yeah, this is just the skills. Yeah. So within those skills, there's 8 core competencies, but within those, there's actually 63 sub competencies, and I just find that really empowering for
Mhm.
coaches.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, to get that diversity. So, um, shall we dive into layer 2?
I mean, I don't know. I can walk away with layer one and just like be good. But no, let's talk about layer two, please.
So, as we add another layer of depth into our coaching skill set, we start to focus on coaching the person and coaching the whole person.
Mhm.
And this to me is where the magic happens, because whether you're coaching a teenager or a C suite executive, you have a whole person in front of you. And there's a distinction that we make in coaching mastery, and that is to coach the person.
Mm.
And when I first heard that, I was like, yeah, but what exactly does that mean? Like, it was hard for me to grasp.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's still hard to grasp if you're first hearing it, especially if you've never. Because I think that we spend a lot of time on the problem, and I think that it might be. I guess to give an example to that, I think when I was doing a lot more career coaching, I would stay focused on the problem of the resume or the LinkedIn or the interviewing skills or just I'm not comfortable networking. But when you take it a level, not a layer deeper, which actually causes you to zoom out more, it's like, oh, is it imposter syndrome or is it um, just how the stories you're telling yourself? Is it self-sabotaging behaviors? Is it just you not is it just confidence, right? So I think that is how I can best kind of contextualize what it means to not, because I can look at your resume and LinkedIn all day and we can tweak this and we can tweak that, but if you get in front of people and you're having that imposter syndrome, or you're not really comfortably articulating like, all right, this is the value that I bring, or you're telling yourself these very negative stories about your experience and like what you actually bring to the table, that's actually getting to what that problem is versus staying at the, oh, we're going to go through a mock interview and we're going to talk about these things. So, such an interesting concept.
It is, and that is a perfect example
Hmm.
of, yeah, how much deeper we can go. Also, a really great example of how um, learning the coaching side of it is so
Hmm.
impactful for consultants
Hmm.
because they can take what they're teaching or helping with, the details, the externals, and
Hmm.
help the client internalize it. And that's where the transformation
Hmm.
happens.
Great point. Because coaching is also for consultants, and it might even help you become a better consultant because you're not just fixated on the problem, which is what consultants are hired for. Hire, figure out all my problems. So I think yes, the coaching actually is something that you can add to your tool belt, to where it's just like, what are we actually trying to figure? What are we actually what is the problem we're actually solving here?
So the other thing I wanted to share about coaching the person, not just the problem, is because you might want to ask like, why would we do this? Don't clients and employees come to us to solve a problem? They do, but if I solve it, I actually take away their agency and their personal power to self-generate.
Hmm.
So there's a little bit, in coaching, it is developmental. The client is learning and self-developing from within.
Hmm. Agreed. Agreed.
So one way to look at this is as someone comes to us for coaching, and I look at it like I'm coaching this person, they're solving the problem. So I'm not focused on the problem. I'm focused on what is going on with my client.
Hmm.
So what is being said? What is not being said? What is happening somatically,
Hmm.
visually? What's happening in the client's context? What's being reflected through beliefs, motivations, values? And a lot of those sometimes are under the surface. So coaches are trained to pick up on
Hmm.
nuances that indicate more of that root level pause so that we can form more powerful questions to get the clients to go deeper.
Yeah. And I guess I think those things, so self-generation is important, because if you just put it in layman's terms, it's just like, are you more likely to do something that somebody else suggested to you versus actually coming up with your own solution and doing it yourself? And when I was going through that whole like coach consulting kind of coaching phase, I found that my clients wouldn't follow through on certain things. And I would ask them why. It's just like I didn't feel comfortable doing that. But when I actually just, what would you feel comfortable doing then? Right? That is a question to where it's just it can be considered a powerful question, because I'm just asking you, I'm putting the ownership back on you as far as what you would do and allowing you to basically, well, I would do this or I would do that. What's stopping you from doing that? Then it just opens a door to a whole different set of solutions that can actually help the client get to where they want to go. So I think it's really important that self generation, it's just as simple as like, I want to take ownership for my own development. I want to actually establish these next steps for myself, something that I feel comfortable with versus I have a manager already. You're supposed to be my coach. I have kids already that are always like telling me what they want and what they need, right? You're supposed to be my coach. How can I take the steps that I want to take in order to move forward?
Yeah, and that to me really connects back to that also the self-alignment piece.
Hmm.
When we own an answer and we're coming to something with full alignment, I mean, wow, the difference is pretty huge.
Agreed. Agreed.
And I think my theory is that a lot of morale issues are because it just lacks coaching culture, coaching opportunities in an organization for people to start self-generating, step into their gifts and power and alignment in
Mhm.
in more powerful ways.
Agreed. Agreed.
Right, shall we move on to layer 3?
Layer three, coaching from coaching for the whole person, right?
Coaching from.
From the whole person.
So we are coaching a whole person. And are we coaching from our whole person?
Ah, okay. Now the onus is back on the coach, right? Coaching from the whole person.
Yep. So am I stuck in my head? Am I only coaching from my head, my cognitive space? I like to say coaching from the whole person is where your magic happens.
Mm,
Coaching the whole person is where the magic happens.
okay.
So when we coach from our whole person, we're including intuitions, our somatic presence,
Hmm.
vision, mindfulness, cognition,
Hmm.
creativity. Like there's all these different things that we're including.
Hmm.
And there are we found 8 domains to human potential. So imagine I'm not just engaging my cognition, I'm engaging all of these. And we'll put a link to what those are below. But engaging your coaching at that level gets to be a lot more profound for the coaching, the impact that your coaching can
Mm, mm. Okay. It sounds like mindfulness is there.
have.
So how what's the best way to be mindful, like within your own body, while you're also engaging with somebody else?
Well, it does take practice, right? When we're first learning coaching,
Of course.
like chatter. Oh my gosh, am I doing it right? Am I asking the right question? What's the next best question? Is the client going to get it right? We're stuck in our heads.
Hmm.
If we can sink down mindfulness, as you said, into a grounded space and really hold that space for the client so that we're using all of our faculties
Hmm.
and we're hearing at those deeper levels.
Hmm.
The coaching naturally, there's no push to it, just naturally becomes more fluid, more
Hmm.
powerful,
Hmm.
deeper, just naturally. Just it's amazing to me.
Hmm. A level of mindfulness, but also just a level of presence with everything that you're feeling. Like if the client says something to you, it sounds like, how does that feel in your body, right? Like if a client like has a strong emotion, like where do you feel that at within your own body? But also as you're in that, I guess that kind of just generates within you like a question, like, hey, notice there was a strong emotion there. Tell me more about that, right? That is not easy at all. And the reason I can say that is because I've been on a couple of because I learned this concept from being on silent meditation retreats, and they teach you so much about how your body your body responds to things first, not your brain. Meaning that you have to be like, let's say, like if it's a negative emotion, if it's a sensation, it will start in the body and it will work its way up to the brain, right? And I don't want to get too scientific, but it's just interesting to just understand, like, we think that our perception, or what, when we see something, that it starts within the brain and it's like fight, flight, or freeze, but it actually starts in the body. And when you're able to feel where it's at in the body, and then it works its way up to your brain, you're able to kind of make a decision on what to do with it. But in coaching, it sounds like when you feel it in the body, it's going to be so organic that it'll just get you to that next powerful question versus thinking too hard as far as like, this is how I'm going to put this question.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a wholeness
Yep.
in our presence.
Gotcha.
And to me, I love what you just shared, and it's so aligned with that self-awareness piece. Where am I right now? Oh, I'm back in my head.
Yep.
Nice. Um, yeah, so those are the 3 layers. As you can see, they're ways that you can also identify what level of coach training or what type of training is right for you, right? So not every person that wants to add coaching skills, the layer 1, needs to go to all layers, right? Especially they may serve leaders. All 3 layers may serve leaders.
Mm-hmm.
But just adding coaching skills is often just really profound experience in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. And I guess with these different layers, let's say I was at home today, right? How would I know what layer that I'm like I'm here, all right, or this is what I'm needing? How would a leader know which is right for them?
I would say depending on what gosh, that's a great question because it's so different for everyone. So I would say if you really care about being a coach-like leader,
Mm-hmm.
so helping your employees self-develop
Mm-hmm.
into their gifts. So you're not providing the scaffolding. They're doing their own work and learning to be independent thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
That is uh, an excellent time to go for at least 2 layers. If not, the 3 is just like the icing on the cake.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Oh,
Um,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, but a lot of consultants or managers, they might just, those coaching skills, that first layer is really impactful too.
Yes, a lot in that first layer. I would say like you could spend a couple months on that first layer in itself, years really on that first layer. So for sure.
Yeah, it's so fun to me when people come into even just the module 1 and say, I didn't realize there was so much more to coaching. I thought I've been coaching for years. We hear that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Including myself. Including myself.
So, one thing I do want to add is sometimes, just to throw this out there, some mistakes that we see companies make when they do like an internal coach training
Mm-hmm.
might put someone in charge that may know a little bit about coaching but doesn't know the full spectrum of all the skills. Um, and so then sometimes what happens is they end up coming to us later and going, oh my gosh, we could have saved years of
Mm-hmm.
time and headaches. And, had we known that all these layers were there and available to us. So I always invite people, if you have questions about coaching, reach out. This is all we do.
Mm-hmm.
You can go straight. We're very accessible. We're coaching geeks here at the Institute. So we love talking about coaching.
Yes. If you have any questions, I am here. As you've already heard, there are so many layers to coaching, even deeper than this. Like once you dive into like kind of just the subtopics within each one of these layers, I can say one, it doesn't just help you as a leader, as a consultant. I think when you go through coach training at any level or any layer, I think what happens is it just helps you overall as a person, personally, professionally, whatever. It just is a self discovery process. And here at the Institute, I really love the emphasis on not just the art of it, right? So just, I love the science behind it. Like this program has really helped me with understanding like somatics, but in a very in-depth way. And for anybody that doesn't know what somatics is, it just has to do with the body. So when sensations come up in your body, just understanding what that is, where it's at, how to actually manage it, those things are so important, especially because we live in a era to where we just have a lot of distraction. We have a lot of screens in our face, and that leaves us in our head all the time. And we usually take the side of thinking versus actually feeling to understand what's really going on. So I think that's one of the, if not my biggest value proposition, is that I'm learning about the art and science of coaching. So, and I think that that is always going to be helpful when it comes to just presenting the value to leadership teams, or just if you have your own coaching practice, just your clients and how they actually engage in the coaching.
Well said.
Yeah.
All right, so that wraps us up for today. We hope today's mastery tip is a lantern to your path with coaching. It's our mission to elevate human potential through the art and the science of masterful coaching. Science, as Bryant pointed out,
Mhm.
it's included. If you're an individual or organizational leader seeking to bring coaching into what you do, please reach out. Bryant is here on LinkedIn. If you're joining us from another platform, you can also reach him at admissions at integrativeintelligence.global. If you are curious, we do teach our Module 1 coaching fundamentals 6 times a year, and we launch our full Level 1 and 2 coach training programs every March and October. We provide these programs to support you and your organization on your journey into coaching excellence. That's one of our passions. We also are here to help companies increase business performance and leadership impact by developing coaching talent and creating coaching cultures. So if you're interested in that, we have 3 different approaches and ways to support you in your journey as well. So as you can see, lots of options. To learn more, please visit us at integrativeintelligence.global. And we will see you next week. Next week, we're going to dive into the different styles and types of.
There we go. I'm excited about that one. I was excited about this one. I'm really excited about that one.
I know we do have fun. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we can't wait to be with you this week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.